With the economic downturn, we've been seeing a lot of clients and other businesses I've been talking to have been struggling with cash flow. It's been up and down. Customers are not paying on time. There's people who are just delaying contracts being signed and things like that. So if you are at all struggling with cash flow during this time, this video is for you, so please stay tuned. Welcome back to the Clara CFO Group channel. We are here to help small businesses with their finances be more financially successful, and tips like increasing cash flow should be helping you with that. So if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you are subscribed. We'd love to have you here, and make sure you also have the little notification bell clicked as well, because that helps you know when we post a new video. All right, so cash flow. What is cash flow? Cash flow is the money coming into your business minus the money going out, and we hope that that is positive. You want positive cash flow. You want more money coming in than the money going out, and you want it to be from sources like customers and clients. You don't want it to just be money coming in because you've borrowed from a line of credit or a loan or things like that. Ideally, you want your business to be producing positive cash flow. If it's not, then you might have a business model problem, and that is a bigger issue. So what I have done is last year we did a increase your cash flow workshop, and we've had that available on our website for sale for quite a while. But this clip from this workshop is extremely helpful to give you some really practical tips on things you can do that will actually help increase cash flow to get paid faster, or just things that you can think about in order to bring that money in a faster rate than you would otherwise. You know, sometimes these things are really, really basic, but you just might not think about them. Or you might think, hey, that's in my industry, it doesn't really work that way. Or maybe you didn't think about an idea that could be potentially helping you. So I've got some really awesome gold nuggets, and that's why I wanted to show this part of the workshop to you guys so you can check it out. If this part is helpful and you're like, hey, I want the whole workshop, I'm actually discounting this workshop. It used to be sold for about $200, absolutely tons of value there, but I've discounted it, so it's closer to $30, I think I have it as. So if you would like to grab your copy for less than $30, you can get that in the description box below. If you want to get the whole workshop, it is about over an hour, and it's got lots of helpful nuggets in there, okay? And there is a guarantee. If you don't find it to be helpful, email me and I will refund you, because I don't want you guys paying for stuff that's not going to be like skyrocketing your business and helping you actually change your business and bring more money in. All right, so without going on any further, here is the clip from the cash flow workshop, and then let me know in the comment section below if you're going to implement any of these strategies. When I do a workshop, I want you to have actionable strategies that you can go and actually take and implement in your business right away. So enjoy, and let me know if you have any other comments or questions in the comment section below. Here we go. Let's talk though about how to accelerate cash in your business. How do we speed it up? Okay, this is my favorite part, because this is where the changes happen. This is where the action can be taken. Okay, so I'm going to go through a bunch of different things here and think about at least one thing. Now, you might take away 5 things from here that you're like, hey, this could be helpful. But I want you to think star one thing that you know you can implement within the next week. Okay, so let's speed up the timing of payments. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look to see if we can change the day of our billing cycle. So instead of billing at the end of the month, can we bill at the beginning of the month? Especially if you're on a retainer or some kind of fixed fee, there's no reason why you should be billing at the end of the month, unless like your client is just no way to negotiate. If you can't move it to day 1, move it to day 15, move it to day 25, make any kind of progress towards day 1. The next thing that you can look at is changing your fixed fee arrangement, so similar to the first of the month. So if you didn't have a fixed fee, get a fixed fee in place and move it to the beginning of the month. The next thing that we can look at is contractual changes. You may have unknowingly locked yourself into a contractual agreement or some way that you can only do things the way you're doing them now. So go back and look at your contract and see if you've locked yourself into anything, and then change your contract going forward to allow you for flexibility. Your contract might say, we will be paid on the 30th day of the month for the previous 30 days. And if that's the case, you shouldn't probably amend any of your current contracts, but look at your contracts, see which ones are current, and renew anything going forward with new terms. Okay. Contracts, people actually look at contracts, and if you change things, they'll go back and they will look and say, that's not what you said. If you don't have any contractual language around it, you could instate a policy. So a policy you could send out to all your customers or clients and say, hey, just so you know, we've changed the policy. We're now billing on the first of the month for the current month. Or you could have individual conversations with that. But if you aren't locked in a contract, consider instating a policy. You can also prepay months of work on a project. So if you have that longer term contract like we were talking about, we want you to pay on the front end. So if your contract goes from March to September, I want you to take payment 1 on March 1, payment 2 on April 1, and so forth, not at the end of the month. Okay, so work that into the contract. This is stuff that maybe you can't necessarily change everything in all the contracts you're already locked into, but you can absolutely change things going forward. And the next time you work with somebody, you can make a change. Okay. We also want to charge or enforce late fees. And I have a story about this one. So I have one client who we were looking at his AR, his accounts receivable, and there was this one balance. It was like $180,000. There was this one balance that was 6 months old. And I was like, dude, why is this 6 months receivable out here? He's like, oh, yeah, he's going to pay it. He's going to pay it. He always does this. And I was like, well, why doesn't he just pay it? And he's like, well, it's on his cycle. And that's just how he's always done it. That's how my dad did it because he inherited the business from his dad. And he's just has never changed anything. And I said, well, don't you have late payment fees? Shouldn't this be increasing over time? And he's like, well, technically we have it on our invoice. We just never actually enforce those late fees. And this is the problem. If you do not enforce the late fees that you tell people you're going to have, they will use you like an interest-free credit card. They will use you like an interest-free loan. So don't let them do that. Don't let them use you like interest-free debt, okay? Because I want interest-free debt. That sounds great. If I didn't have to pay something for 6 months, I mean, think about you go to Home Depot, you buy something, new garage doors, for example. And like, if you don't have to pay for them right away and you've got interest-free time, you're not going to pay it right away, right? Most of us probably wouldn't. So that's what your customers are doing to you if you do not enforce late fees. And if you're having trouble collecting accounts receivable, that could be a major, major, major problem. Okay. So charge a late fee. Again, maybe this is something, if you haven't locked it in on a contract, you could start a policy, notify people that it's happening. And then even QuickBooks Online has a way to automatically enforce late fees. So it's something you can consider if you want to. Put the late fee on the invoice at the bottom, tell them exactly how much it is. Usually 1% of the invoice total per month is a pretty common number. So what I would do, you tell people that this policy is coming. And then if you're having trouble collecting accounts receivable, 5 days before a date invoice is due, you send a notification saying, hey, just a reminder, your invoice is due in 5 days. Remember about our new policy that we instated about this late fee. We don't want you to incur that fee. So please, let us know if you need the invoice again or something like that, or resend the invoice. And then they'll probably pay it in time. If they're late, if they're 2 days late and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. You'd be like, okay, no problem. You can waive it for one time if you want to. Like that's all like within your own policy if you internally want to waive that. And then they'll be so grateful and they'll always pay your invoice on time going forward. Okay. So something to think about, but do not let customers and clients use you like interest-free loans. The next thing that you want to do is prioritize billing clients as a critical task in your business. Don't put it off. Remember that every day you wait is another day you won't get paid. So you need to think about if you are on a billing cycle for charging people hourly, don't wait to invoice. Don't wait to invoice 7 days after the end of the cycle. Invoice day one. And put that as a critical task and put it in somebody's hands that will get it done on a timely manner. So if you can't get it done as the business owner, give it to your accountant or give it to whoever is like that responsible person. But make sure that it is seen internally as a very critical task. Okay, don't give it to the intern. The next thing that you can do to accelerate cash is to accept credit cards. So a lot of people will be more happy to give you a credit card if you have to pay now than they will be to do anything else. So be able to accept credit cards. Doesn't mean that it needs to be your default method of payment, because we all know that we get charged 3%, 3 point something percent for credit cards.
but have it as an option. So if somebody's like, hey, I can't pay you now, no problem, we take credit cards. Okay, good to go. And also, like for product businesses, really giving people more options and ways to pay is a way to increase cash flow overall. Because you don't have somebody going, oh no, I don't have cash, or oh, I don't have Venmo, I don't have PayPal, whatever it is. You can say, no problem, we take all these different ways of paying. That will increase your sales overall. Charge automatically. So if you have the ability, especially on these like fixed fee, you guys are going to kind of hear me glorify fixed fee arrangements to some degree, because I do think it is a great solution to cash flow management for some businesses. But if you can charge automatically, so if you know your fixed fee every single month, 10 clients are at $1,500 a month, charge them automatically, use a system where you can keep their credit card information and just put it on auto pay. And honestly, most of the time, your client's going to be happy that they don't have to think about it to pay your bill. Think about that. If you are in a contract relationship, put deposits. That's the next thing. Take deposits whenever possible. If you're doing something like a website design, knowing somebody on the call today, a website design, make sure you're taking a deposit for work up front, because you might have some initial costs. You're going to be spending labor at the very beginning. It makes sense to maybe take 50% of the total contract amount up front and then maybe do progress payments throughout the contract. You can also incentivize with early pay discounts. This works better when you have a larger organization. So if you're a small fry working with a big guy, the big guys sometimes have internal policies that if an early pay discount is offered, that they need to take it. So if you offer a 1% discount for paying within 10 days, they might be required to take it. So if you want to get your money faster, consider something like that as well. And you can test some of these things. So like put an early pay discount on there and see if that brings money in the door quicker. You can test out some of this stuff. So take action. What do you think you could take action on within the next week?
All right. I hope that was helpful for everybody. If you would like to grab a copy of the full workshop so you can get all the other tidbits that I talk about in that workshop, you can get a link to that in the description box below. And I have discounted that about 85%. So it is less than $30 right now. So capture it, get it, and get your copy. And let me know if you have any questions. All right. Thank you guys so much. And let's bring in more cash in our businesses. All right, bye.